Lesson 18. Lesson 18 means next week pranayama. Introduction of pranayama. Lesson 19. Don't skip classes if possible. Vishuddhi chakra. The throat chakra. Vishuddhi is reflecting the quality of this chakra, which is distinguishing itself from the other chakras by being the chakra of purification. Shodhana, which you see back in the word Vishuddhi, Shuddhi, Shodhi, Shodhana, is purification. Vishuddhi chakra, every chakra, I haven't mentioned the petals of each symbol of the chakras because for me that is not so much of practical value. Each of those petals has a mantra attached to it, which is a vibration, a sound vibration. Actually, with this chakra, it does come into play because Vishuddhi chakra, as the name indicates, is the chakra of purity. By, how do you say? The chakra is inherently pure, which is not the case with the other chakras. And that's being symbolically reflected by the fact that the lower chakras, the petals in the lower chakras, have both vowels and consonants. Now, as you can see in the text, the vowels are considered to be pure, while consonants disturb the harmony of the vowel. At least that is the insight the yogis have. In contrast with the lower chakras, Vishuddhi chakras petals only have vowels, so pure sound notes, pure vibrations as mantras in the petals. Now that is all hocus pocus. What this means for us is the throat chakra is the center of expression, all expression. So verbally expressing yourself with speech, but also your facial expressions, non-verbal expression, expressing yourself in art. Art inherently is creation, which is, if art is real art, there are many fake artists, but the real artist that we talked about before also is fueled by inspiration, which is inherently a spiritual activity. So creating art is fueled by the crown chakra through the heart, but the throat chakra is the form of expression. That sounds a little bit complicated, but the throat chakra is, because it is inherently pure, sattvic, every person has a problem on the level of the heart chakra. Why? Because feelings, insights that you receive in contemplation are subtle, while words to express yourself are very gross in comparison to the subtlety of feelings and insights that you receive through contemplation. So no matter how eloquent you are, no matter how fluent you are in your language, there's always an obstacle there, causing a disharmony in the throat chakra. Yeah. Thank you. So if you missed the first part, then you have to look at the video. So no matter how much yoga you do, no matter how much meditation you do, no matter how much sattva you create, you'll never have 100% harmony in the throat chakra, because you notice how much difficulty I have to explain. And I have a double handicap because I'm thinking and communicating in 3 different languages, none of which I'm fluent at anymore. I'm forgetting my Dutch. My English is not perfect because it's not native. And my Korean, well, don't even talk about that. That just totally is not so good. To say it in a nice way. So I'm looking for words. And sometimes, it happened in this class also, sometimes I want to say something and I can't find the English word. I know the Dutch word, but nobody understands that. So then I say the Korean word, and then it's being translated back into English. That is the throat chakra. The color blue is the color that harmonizes the throat chakra. Then this one, it's mixed color, but it's all blue. I have a very strong attraction to the color blue. My winter coat that I wore at the beginning of the course is blue. And I'm pretty sure all of you, among your favorite colors, blue takes a very prominent place. Almost everybody likes the color blue, subconsciously. Why do you feel attracted to the color blue? Because the color gives a certain level of harmony in the throat chakra, where everybody, no matter how eloquent, no matter how sattvic, has an imbalance. The throat chakra is best served by a harmonious life in a natural environment. And of course, harmonious sounds. So everybody likes to go to the countryside and make a walk in the forest, around the lake, in the mountain, on the beach. Everybody, one way or another, kind of likes that. People love the city, love the excitement, the hustle and bustle, but whenever we have a chance, we jump in a train, bus or car, and we go to a nice, quiet, natural place. Same as the color blue, natural environment stimulates and harmonizes the throat chakra. New Age music is popular because it does exactly the same. The opposite is also true, and you can see, especially young people. I just mentioned Public Enemy, which is hardcore rap with very rude text and what have you. But hard rock, heavy metal, it's usually people who are in the age of chaos that actually like this kind of music. And liking the kind of music is a reflection of how you are at that moment internally. Can you see what I'm trying to say? If you are harmonious, if you are mentally at peace and calm, hard rock is incredibly violent. Hard rock, heavy metal, rap can be, doesn't have to be. There is also rap that is melodious and without that has a good rhythm and melodious. But hard rock, heavy metal is like tearing, like, you know, Heavy metal is really heavy metal. It's like tearing steel, and it goes through your bones and your. You would have to bring me to a mental asylum if you expose me to hard rock. But noise can be turned into torture because of the disharmony that occurs on the throat level. That's why people cannot stand noise. And you see that it actually is being used as torture, both silence and noise. You know, the past 2 decades, there have been wars in Afghanistan, Iraq. You know what the American army does when people are holed up in some kind of reinforced structure, and the American soldiers cannot catch them, cannot arrest them? They bring big speakers and they play AC/DC very loud, day and night, until it drives the people inside crazy and they have to come out. They have to surrender and come out. In the same way, in the prisons, they use hard rock too to torture the prisoners when they don't want to give the information that the interrogators want from them. Day and night being exposed to hard rock in your cell, that drives you insane, drives you crazy. It's very interesting because a burglary alarm is based on the same principle. You understand burglary alarm? When a thief breaks into a house, and the house is equipped with an alarm system, the moment he breaks the lock and opens the door, the alarm goes off. A siren, a lot of noise is being produced by a siren. And often in combination with light. So big floodlight with a lot of noise, causing so much chaos in the criminal that they run away. In a moment of panic, they run away. It is, of course, obvious that this happens, but for us it's interesting to understand that this is all related to Vishuddhi Chakra. And not only that, it becomes more and more important for people like you and me that we create an environment without noise, without distractions and disturbances. You cannot stand it anymore. For me, starting practicing yoga, the need to be alone, away from my family, became very strong. So within a year, I lived on my own. 20 years old. At that time, of course, I just followed my feeling. Now I know why. Now technically I understand how it works and why. So silence, quietness becomes more and more important for the developing yogi. But silence can also be used as torture. So you have, how do you call it? Musen isolation? When you're in prison and you do something in prison that is...
Confinement?
Solitary confinement, yeah. Solitary confinement means they take you away from the other prisoners, put you in a cell on your own, no window, no nothing, no book, nothing to read, no music, no TV, totally isolated. As a punishment. If you know yoga, you will practice yoga. You will meditate on nada, and you will actually appreciate the silence. But for most people, it drives people insane. It explains also why most yoga classes use music. in total contradiction with what yoga is about and tries to achieve, which is silence. And instead of trying to achieve silence, we practice yoga making noise. In total contradiction with the goal of yoga. It shows how difficult this actually is. Because silent yoga is very difficult to sell. Silent yoga is very difficult to popularize and to commercialize. You can't make a living out of silent yoga, except me. Yes, I do. To popularize yoga and to commercialize yoga, they introduced movement, which is against yoga, music, which is against yoga. You can enjoy music, of course, anytime. Also, you can enjoy movement. You can enjoy boxing or cycling or jogging. But when you do yoga, yoga is yoga. No movement, no music. And teachers are being indoctrinated, full of technical information about the organs, about the joints and the muscles and the back and the legs and what have you. And so when a teacher teaches yoga, they constantly talk about the physical aspects of yoga. I have done classes where people told me, hey Ron, or hey teacher, why are you not explaining about what the exercises are doing for me, about my muscles and my joints and my this and that? So I had to explain them that that is not yoga. Yoga is about standing still and trying to go into the silence, and the teacher actually should not talk too much. And definitely no music. If people do not understand this, they will never come back to your class. But if you are able to explain it, and they get the point, they will start to see the difference. Not only that, they will start to appreciate the difference between real yoga in silence without movement, as opposed to the chaos, basically, of constant movement and talk and music, distraction. You know, I was once in Amsterdam. I had entered a parking lot, underground parking lot, going back to the alarm system, the anecdote. I had entered the parking lot with my car, and I was going through some documents from my work, and suddenly I saw somebody walking in between the cars, and I felt it was kind of suspicious behavior. So I was ready with my things, with my documents, and I thought, I want to see this. I want to see what this guy is going to do. That was very interesting. It was a car burglar, somebody who breaks open cars and steals the radio or the navigation system, things of value. So he at some point he opened the car door with he used a pair of scissors. He put in the lock and he opened the door. The moment that he opened the door, the alarm went off. Bah, 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 very loud. You know what happened? He was so in a panic that he circled around the car 3 times. Totally disoriented. He circled around the car 3 times before spotting the emergency exit, and he ran to the exit. Totally disoriented. It's like seeing an animal in nature getting into a panic, and that was a very interesting experience. Vishuddhi Chakra in total chaos. This also means that if you are the victim of a crime, personal, never be silent. if somebody attacks you in a dark place, especially women, huh? When a man with bad intentions approaches you in a dark place where there are no other people around, scream as loud as you can. Don't think that if you stay silent that you will be safe, because that is exactly what they want. Scream as loud as you can and keep screaming. Based on what you know now, you know technically what will happen in that person. That person will become so chaotic inside, so disorientated, they will run away. They may leave you with a punch in your face. They may leave you with a bloody nose or a black eye. But worse can be avoided simply by screaming and continuing to scream. They don't know anymore what they're doing. Just like the guy spinning around the car 3 times before finally spotting the exit and gathering his senses, running toward the exit. Yeah? Don't forget, people sometimes think that to stay silent will save your life or save you from bad things happening. Scream. Make as much noise as possible, like the alarm system is designed to do. Yeah, Vishuddhi Chakra is considered the fountain of eternal youth. That requires a little bit of explanation. You know maybe the stories in the Bible of Abraham and Sarah. They were like 900 years old and they got a baby. You know the story? Yeah. This is symbolical language, of course. You take it literal and you think, my God, either they were very special 2,000 years ago or 5,000 years ago, or this is just a total lie, total nonsense. The answer is somewhere in between. The symbolism tries to explain a subtle phenomenon that is very difficult to express in concrete language. But since the throat chakra is the center of expression, expression keeps you alive in terms of vital energy. There are many people who are alive, but spiritually they are not. I dare say the majority of the people. So you look around you in the street, even in your own family or friends, you can see this phenomenon. People are gray and dark and lacking a sparkle, no enthusiasm. Everything is doubtful and scary, and people just want to stay put and stay in their comfort zone. That is a lack of vital energy. Eternal youth here does not mean that you will become 900 years old, even have babies at that age. But not only the Bible, other holy scriptures from other cultures also mention this phenomenon. It's about maintaining youthfulness at a higher age. And the exaggeration of 900 years and even getting a baby at that age, that is just symbolism for indicating that you don't have to become gray and dull and lacking vitality even when you reach a high age. And an example of this is, of course, the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu, the Bishop of South Africa. Those two, although they are in their 80s, they are like little children. Especially when they are together, they start making jokes, giggling, dancing in their togas. It's really funny to see that. You never see people of that age doing that, and those who do, you can see the difference. Healthier, happier, and sparkle. There is a sparkle, there is enthusiasm, there is passion. Vishuddhi Chakra, if you practice yoga, you feel more alive. You will find in your life, something that you're passionate about. It can be yoga itself, it can be animals, it can be art, it can be music, something that you feel attracted to. It can be sports also. I have felt for a couple of years that kind of enthusiasm about Hapkido. Now I've left that behind already for quite some years, but that was something that really made my heart tick, my heart beat. It made me feel passionate, enthusiastic, something I wanted to live for. It is allowing yourself to engage in those kind of activities, pursuing those kind of interests, that feeds the throat chakra and thus leads to what is here referred to as eternal youth. The same as with the conclusion about the Svadhisthana chakra, the water center, it's about energy, vital energy, that is being generated if we allow emotion, passion, enthusiasm, if we allow that to be expressed. It's important that we pay attention to this because we live in a world where actually our surroundings tell us to not show our feelings, to oppress this kind of enthusiasm. It's childish, it is emotionally unstable, etc. But what you're really doing if you give in to that is you kill yourself, you kill your spirit. Color blue, I mentioned it already. The subtle element, the tamatra, is ether. Ether is a word that is used on a daily basis in the Dutch language. You turn on the radio and the DJ will tell you that we are coming to you through the ether. But in English that is not such a common expression, I have understood throughout the years. So what is ether? Ether is thinner than air. There is a logic: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So the higher you go, the more evaporated the condition of the matter. Ether carries sound waves. You have your phone, oh, it's hanging there. You have your phone, it receives a signal. If somebody wants to talk to you, or the Wi-Fi signal, how does it come to your phone? It is being carried by what we call ether. So ether carries the sound waves, ether carries vibration. That is why that is the subtle element of this chakra. The karmendriya, or the subtle vehicle of action, is speech. Speech, but actually expression in all its forms, not only limited to verbal expression, speech. Speech, therefore, is symbolism for all forms of expression. The subtle organ of perception, the Jnanendriya, is hearing. The subtle energy is called Vijnana Prana. Vijnana Prana is what ancient people would perceive as ghosts. Vijnana Prana is the energy that people who are sensitive, and ancient people were much more sensitive than modern human beings, surrounded by lots of distraction. Ancient people would be able to sense, and because it's not concrete, something that you cannot see with your physical eyes or touch, grasp, we call it phantom or ghost. Now you know the idea of a haunted house. There are places where people say it's haunted by ghosts, that is not a joke. When people die, energy, your spirit basically rises up. So in Christianity, that has been ritualized during Easter, where Jesus Christ, after he died, being put in a cave, he ascended to heaven, he rose up. You know that you are a ball of energy. But when you die, your physical body dies. That energy leaves the body. Energy, we know from Einstein and other scientists, energy is eternal, indivisible. And energy is consciousness, your spirit. When you die, for example, by violence, which means you are torn out of life suddenly in a shock, or you die, let's call it disharmonious. When you're very disharmonious, your spirit, the moment that you die, is not in peace. And therefore, it doesn't rise up as it normally does after people die. That is what is a ghost. A ghost is a spirit that was disharmonious, and so it stayed behind in the place where the physical body died. And that is how you come to a haunted house. A haunted house is where somewhere in the past, can be recent, can be 100 or 500 years ago, somebody died a very sudden death without being in sattva, without being in peace. So that spirit, that ghost, we call it a ghost because we are scared of it, stays behind. That is not a joke. People who are sensitive can feel the presence of that energy because it is energy. Now you know that there are exorcists which you then hire to kill the ghost or to expel the ghost from the house. You know what they do? They, of course, they come with a bag full of artifacts, full of tools, maybe a cross, I demand you leave, or a silver nail with a hammer, but you know, this is all ritual, this is all symbolism. What the exorcist really does is in total contradiction with what it appears to be. The exorcist seems to be a person who violently expels the ghost because of the rituals and the artifacts that they carry with them for the ritual. But what the real exorcist does is actually communicate with the ghost and tell them it is okay. Now be in peace and feel free to rise up and go. Basically, a real exorcist creates sattva for the ghost so that finally it can be in peace and rise up. So that story is related to Vishuddhi Chakra, because that energy that we perceive as a ghost, if we perceive it, is in fact the energy from Vishuddhi Chakra, Dhyana Prana. Questions? Okay, let's have a short break then.